Why is Latin America so poor compared to the United States and Canada? Why is the region so underdeveloped despite being wealthy in natural resources? Latin America has been economically exploited for the past 5 centuries because of its mineral wealth and strategic importance. Both Europe and the United States have sucked the region dry of its wealth at the expense of the native population. Take the cases of Potosi and Uro Preto. Potosi was a mountain of silver located in modern-day Bolivia. The Spanish colonizers in charge at the time stripped Potosi of all its silver. Potosi actually produced a significant percentage of the world's silver. The indigenous miners who extracted the silver for the Spanish did not reap any of the benefits. For the natives, Potosi represented death and oppression. It is estimated that around 8 million indigenous and African miners died. Because Potosi provided so much wealth, the nearby village became one of the largest cities in the New World. However, in the early decades of the 17th century, the silver was beginning to run out. When the Spaniards finally bled Potosi dry of its mineral wealth, the adjacent city was abandoned and left to decay. Today, the city of Potosi is a ghost of its former self. Long gone are its days of wealth and imperial splendor. In colonial Brazil, the Portuguese discovered a large amount of gold deposits in the mountains of Minas Gerais. One particular mine called Ouro Preto was rich in gold. Approximately 800 tons of gold were extracted by the Portuguese and shipped to Portugal. This gold was extracted mostly by African slaves. Just like Potosi, the town of Ouro Preto was abandoned and neglected once all of the region's mineral wealth had been extracted. Today, Ouro Preto is an economically stagnant wasteland filled with poverty. American policy in Latin America goes back almost 2 centuries, beginning with the Monroe Doctrine. U.S. President James Monroe announced in 1823 that the U.S. would not tolerate any further European colonies or puppet regimes in the Western Hemisphere. At the time, America clearly did not have the means to enforce such a policy. In the early 20th century, President Theodore Roosevelt issued a corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. The Roosevelt Corollary stipulated that the United States had the sole right to intervene in Latin America and the Caribbean. The United States, especially U.S. corporations, had vested interests in Latin America, mostly access to natural resources. Fruit companies operating in Central America encouraged American military occupations throughout the region. These military actions would become known as the Banana Wars. U.S. Marine General Smedley Butler would later denounce his actions in the Banana Wars in his work War is a Racket. To paraphrase Eduardo Galeano, the author of The Open Veins of Latin America, the big advantage North America had over South America was its lack of strategic importance and lack of exploitable mineral resources. In addition, entire families were likely to colonize areas for England, while it was predominantly single men who were sent to conquer places for Spain. English colonies in the New World were viewed as settler colonies, while Spanish colonies are simply viewed as money-making ventures. The United States still exercises political and economic influence in Latin America. For instance, the United States is the largest trading partner of most countries in Central America. Another more sinister instrument of control the US uses to keep Latin American countries in line is WINSEC, or Western Hemisphere Institute for Security Cooperation at Fort Benning, Georgia. Formerly known as School of the Americas, military and police personnel from Latin America and the Caribbean are trained by American instructors at this training facility. The school is nicknamed School of the Assassins since so many of the school's graduates have gone on to participate in coups, assassinations, and mass killings. During the Cold War, the United States launched Operation Condor, a campaign of terror and repression by US-backed military dictatorships in South America. The goal of these anti-communist military dictatorships was to purge their respective countries of leftist influence and silence left-wing dissidents. Thousands were tortured, killed, or jailed during Operation Condor. Fortunately, some of the key players behind Operation Condor have faced justice for their crimes. Latin America is a large and diverse region with deep wounds from over 5 centuries of exploitation. It can be said that those wounds still bleed in 2022. The region has known nothing but violence and economic looting. The current trend of leftist politicians winning elections throughout Latin America, known as the Pink Tide, has given many in the region a sense of hope. That being said, the region still has a long way to go before the wrongs of the past can be made right and ongoing injustices can be rectified.